Online schooling was not the only circumstance triggered by the disruptions that COVID-19 brought to the education system. Also coming out of the pandemic period were parents seeking alternative ways to teach their children at home. According to the corporate secretary of the Homeschooling Association, Dr. Fiona Rajkumar, it was during that time the Homeschooling Association of Trinidad and Tobago, or HAT, began seeing increased membership. Dr. Rajkumar said while some parents always had an interest in homeschooling, some were hesitant. However, the COVID-19 pandemic pushed them to explore the internet for answers.
Some schools not being able to adjust as well as other schools, you found that some parents, they took on that responsibility and they felt as though their children were doing much better with the individual attention, and they did not want to go back to putting their children in a space where they felt as though they were not doing well.
Dr. Rajkumar reasoned that the socialization models sometimes highlighted about public schools might be another motivation for parents seeing homeschooling as a viable option. She said one of the things parents often say when they criticize homeschooling was the need for children to interact with the real world.
The whole concept of that they need to be able to interact with the real world, I think that is something we need to reinterpret when we make that statement. So if the real world in our minds is a world of violence and bullying and drug use and all of those things, I don't think any of us really wants to interact intimately with that kind of real world, right? And if that is the kind of real world that our public schools are becoming, that's why you will have an influx of parents who want to homeschool.
One of the appeals of homeschooling, according to Dr. Rajkumar, is a chance for parents to get directly involved in molding the minds of their children.
They're able to do it academically with support from homeschooling curriculum or support from parents who have gone before them, because they also do not just see education as being academics. They see education as one promoting lifelong learning and being about the holistic development of a child, right? Which is something that the ministry is trying to work towards in its revised education policy. Right? Having a more holistic approach to human and child development.
However, Dr. Rajkumar warned that homeschooling is not something parents should take lightly, noting that parents need to understand that homeschooling is something that takes sacrifice.
We always share with parents is that, when you are now adjusting to it, you may have times that are very difficult. And so you have to make up your mind, do I want to continue with this? With everything we go through, we get better with time and practice. Right? And so you have to want to be willing to go through those teething processes before you could say whether or not homeschooling is something that you'd want to do.
Whatever side of the fence you may fall on regarding traditional versus homeschooling, choose the best fit for your children and family. I am Fiona Rajkumar, and this is See Yourself on TTT.